At 30 years old, Disney's Hollywood Studios is probably the park to see the most changes over its lifetime at the Walt Disney World Resort. Originally constructed to compete with the soon-to-be-opened Universal Studios Orlando, Hollywood Studios has seemingly always lagged behind. With an uninspired overarching theme that Disney has been gradually tearing apart, the park is in a state of identity limbo. However, it has earned the reputation of having some of the most intense attractions, lively shows, and unique experiences on Walt Disney World property. So why is the public's opinion on the future home to the East Coast version of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge so polarised? For ReviewTyme, I'm Dominic, and this is our review of Disney's Hollywood Studios. Thrill rides, 8 out of 10. Hollywood Studios is perhaps known as Walt Disney World's thrill park. With the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster, it's fairly easy to see why. The quality and intensity of these thrill attractions are above anything else offered at Disney World, and are such standouts that a lot of people will currently visit the park just for these attractions. The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror at Hollywood Studios is the original and best version of the attraction, and is rated as one of ReviewTyme's favourite attractions in the world. From the moment that you walk through the dilapidated front gates of the hotel, you're encumbered by a sense of unease. This eerie foreshadowing continues through the pre-show and loading queue, providing increased suspense for the experience to come. The ride reinvents what guests perceive as a drop tower, with various show elements leading up to the main event, and a randomized computer system ensuring no two rides are exactly alike. Rock and Roller Coaster, located just around the corner from the Tower of Terror, is a fast-paced accelerator roller coaster that takes place within a dark, enclosed show building. Not many moments quite match the sheer force of the initial launch of the coaster, but surprisingly, it quickly slows down to become a rather sluggish experience towards the end. Recently, Disney have further expanded their thrill ride offerings within the park with the addition of Slinky Dog Dash located within the brand new Toy Story Land. Slinky Dog further enhances the thrilling lineup with this fast-paced, winding adventure that is a perfect stepping stone for children looking to experience slightly bigger thrills. Before the arrival of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, fans of the saga can ride perhaps the most tame thrill ride on property, Star Tours. This simulator experience will soar you through a randomized sequence of your favorite Star Wars planets. However, the placement of the ride is going to be a little confusing once Galaxy's Edge opens, and some of the scenes won't fit in the timeline of Batuu just across the park. Family rides, 7 out of 10. With the addition of Toy Story Land, Hollywood Studios is striving to become more family-orientated compared to its previous stand-in a couple years ago. This land nicely complements the already family favourite Midway Mania with the addition of the great family coaster Slinky Dog Dash and the fun, if not a bit short-lasting, alien swirling saucers. Disney are fierce in their stance to make sure that a majority of their attractions can be enjoyed by the whole family. Many of the more thrilling rides have the surprising capacity to accommodate for younger guests. For those families with thrill junkies amongst their younger ranks, then this park is a definite must-do. Whilst there isn't a large selection of family attractions compared to the other parks within Walt Disney World, the quality of those on offer easily makes up for the lack of variety. When combined with experiences and entertainment, you're guaranteed to have a fulfilling family day at Hollywood Studios. Experiences, 7 out of 10. Over the years, we've seen constant changes to the experiences on offer at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Roaming the streets, you'll find the citizens of Hollywood who are looking for cast and crew to feature in their upcoming Hollywood blockbusters. In our latest visit, they weren't as prominent as we've previously experienced, but they can offer hilarious on-the-spot shows, magic interactions, and quizzes to earn a Dream Fast Pass. Star Wars is in full force at Hollywood Studios, and it's very hard to miss. Whilst there are many spontaneous and planned Star Wars experiences throughout the day, including the March of the First Order and Wandering Stormtroopers, the best place to catch it all is at the Star Wars Launch Bay, which features authentic movie props and character meet-and-greet experiences. Located within the park is a walkthrough attraction dedicated to the life of the man that started it all, Walt Disney. One Man's Dream explores the history, challenges, technologies, and dreams of our favourite visionary. It's an endearing look into history. But over the years, this exhibit has slowly been dwindling. Rather distastefully, Disney have decided to attach a Monsters Inc. meet and greet to the exhibit, which lessens the experience and impact. Entertainment, 8 out of 10. As its name suggests, Hollywood Studios is filled to the brim with a wide variety of entertainment. However, not all shows are made equal, and the park shares some of the best and worst entertainment on Disney property. Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular is a great highlight of the quality that Hollywood Studios can produce. This show offers multiple exciting elements and will constantly keep you on the edge of your seat. It does play off the concept that you're watching a movie being produced that's actually a show that was originally a movie, but you probably shouldn't think too much into it. The effects are spot on, the stunts are daring, and it even provides an opportunity for audience participation on stage, which I've been lucky to experience once in the past. Fantasmic is perhaps the most anticipated show for guests to see during their time at Walt Disney World. It's an absolutely phenomenal experience that continues to rival even the latest of Disney's entertainment offerings around the world. At over 20 years old, it is ready for a rather significant upgrade to improve story elements, technology, and effects to keep it up to date with California and Tokyo, but the current version definitely isn't lacking without those enhancements. The weakest additions to Hollywood Studios' entertainment lineup are Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid. Geared towards younger guests, they lack the wow factor compared to the other shows. It's understandable for stronger shows to delay enhancements for many years due to a simple case of why fix what isn't broken, but Beauty and the Beast has crawled for almost 20 years without any major upgrades, and with Disney proving their capacity for quality character shows with international offerings such as Mickey and the Wondrous Book at Hong Kong Disneyland and Big Band Beat at Tokyo Disney Sea, we believe it's definitely time for a change. Staff, 9 out of 10. Staff at Walt Disney World are simply world class. The quality that Disney expects from their cast members is what helps enhance the entire vacation experience. While some staff look as if they're just going through the motions, I found that these were far and few between. They weren't a reflection of the quality that Disney can offer. If you're ever in need of directions, guidance, or perhaps just a quick chat, you can rest assured knowing that the cast members are always there to help you make your day extra special. Theming, 6 out of 10. Whilst Hollywood Studios has some effectively themed areas, the studio style feels uninspired and lifeless. Considering that Disney seemed to be moving further and further away from the Hollywood aspect of the park, what was once a drawing factor to the park now feels like an afterthought. There are parts of Hollywood Studios in which the theming is used effectively. When walking down Sunset Boulevard with the looming Hollywood Tower Hotel, you get that awe-inspiring sensation similar to seeing the castle at the end of Main Street. Unfortunately, once reaching the end of the street, you're once again reintroduced to the studio aesthetic with Rock and Roller Coaster, which has an inspired guitar facade, but the ride building itself is jarring compared to the rest of the land, simply being just a studio. Hollywood Studios isn't quite sure of what it wants to be right now. Many areas of the park lack cohesion, which has a side effect of making it hard to navigate due to the transitions of distinct lands being rather lacking, and you aren't sure where the guest accessible areas end and the backstage starts. Galaxy's Edge, coming later this year, looks absolutely stunning, and on par with later Disney offerings such as Pandora World of Avatar and Cars Land. However, the rest of the park also needs attention to figure out its own identity, because when contrasted to Galaxy's Edge, it's going to cause some shock. Merchandise, 7 out of 10. For the park with the most merchandising potential, it unfortunately falls short. Walt Disney World seem to be trying to make their merchandise range more concise, and this comes with the consequence of every store pretty much sharing the same merch. Whilst this range had me buying several products I may not have in the past, it got rather annoying seeing the same products over and over. I understand that for short-stay guests, this means that they're less likely to miss out on the products that they're after. But for longer-stay guests, this can get very repetitive and turn you off wanting to browse in the later half of your trip. If you're a fan of Star Wars, this park has everything you could need, but it was rather difficult to find anything related to their newest addition, Toy Story Land. Without the land having a dedicated merchandise store, the only Toy Story merchandise we could find was towards the end of Sunset Boulevard, which is relatively far away from Toy Story Land. The Walt Disney World merchandise boosts everything up, but unfortunately the Hollywood Studios side of things brings everything down a little. Affordability, 7 out of 10. There's no arguing that Walt Disney World is expensive. For many, it's a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I think that for what you get, for what you pay, it's actually not that bad. However, this is thinking of Hollywood Studios as part of a package, including the other parks around Walt Disney World. Starting at $109, you can get a single-day ticket to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Considering the way that Disney prices Walt Disney World, this actually puts it in the same pricing bracket as the Magic Kingdom, which offers far more. As an individual edition, it's not well priced, but as a package, it's passable. The variety and pricing of the food within the park is commendable. There are a lot of different sit-down options which can get rather expensive, but I feel you always get what you pay for. Though this does come from an Australian perspective, in which food is rather expensive to begin with, so Hollywood Studios didn't seem that outlandishly expensive. Merchandise can have some interesting prices, depending on the demand and exclusivity of certain items, but for the most part, you're guaranteed to find something within your budget. Atmosphere, 7 out of 10. The atmosphere of Hollywood Studios is buzzing. It's still riding off the excitement of the opening of Toy Story Land, with anticipation towards the future with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Parts of the park truly feel alive and almost evoke a party-like atmosphere. Unsurprisingly, this park shares a similar atmosphere with the Universal Studios lineup of theme parks. It feels less about immersion and more about excitement, through pop Disney tunes over the speakers generating a lively and boppy environment. This unfortunately makes bland areas like Grand Avenue feel unfinished and still under construction. Many parts of the theme park feel like a work in progress, even from the moment you get off your resort bus. With the construction of the gondolas and the new bus stops, expect to walk past a lot of construction walls throughout your day, even before you even enter the park. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge has the potential to completely reinvent the atmosphere of Hollywood Studios, but it also has the potential to further accentuate the previously mentioned blander areas of the park. Once the dust settles, I hope we see some tough TLC around Hollywood Studios. And knowing that there are many projects still in the works like Mickey's Runaway Railway, I'm hopeful for the future. Services, 8 out of 10. The services on offer at Disney's Hollywood Studios are what you expect to find at a park within the Walt Disney World Resort. Offering FastPass Plus, extra magic hours, tours, and more, it's got many services to make your experience and day extra special. Hollywood Studios does provide a number of upcharge attractions for those who are willing and have the ability to pay. This includes Early Morning Magic, a frustratingly similarly named initiative by Disney, which is essentially paid extra magic hours. For those who don't know what extra magic hours are, EMH is provided to guests staying on Walt Disney World property. You are either granted early access to a park or can stay later depending on the schedule that Disney provides. Disney markets these paid extras as a way to beat the crowds, and with the crowds that we experienced on our last visit, it's understandable why Disney would offer these. As more people continue to visit the parks, I wouldn't be surprised if we see even more of these sorts of services appear in the future. Don't forget that you can also make reservations at many of the sit-down restaurants around Hollywood Studios. Disney offer a ton more services, but we highly recommend visiting the theme park's website to see what is more relevant to you closer to your day of visit. Final thoughts.
In the year I lived and worked at the Walt Disney World Resort in 2015, Hollywood Studios was my favorite theme park to visit. I always knew I was in for an amazing day of spectacular stunt shows, original thrilling rides, great entertainment, making sure I always made time to see the Hollywood public works, as well as always closing out a great day with Fantasmic, the then best nighttime spectacular on property. In that year though, I saw a lot of my favorite experiences at the park close. The animation building with the Animation Academy became Star Wars Launch Bay, and the Osborne family spectacle of dancing lights, as well as Star Wars weekends, both saw their last event. Today, the park is a completely different beast to the one that was my favourite to visit, and whilst I'm incredibly excited for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, as well as the new era of the park that land will usher in, I'd give anything to experience one last day at the Hollywood Studios that was.
A lot of change is coming to the Walt Disney World Resort, and Hollywood Studios is not an exception. The park in several years is not going to be the same park that we visited in February. For better or worse, only time will tell. Our final score is 74 out of 100. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. I'm Dominic, and this is Review Time.